All right, Strawberry Grass with our first question here. How long did you intend to be a streamer for? I heard you talking about doing a radio before, but do you see yourself streaming over the next several years? Beautiful question to break the ice here. Um, I intended to be a streamer as long as humanly possible. Truthfully, when I first dove into streaming, I never ever expected it to be something I could live off of. I went into streaming completely thinking it was going to be a side thing and just a creative outlet. And my biggest hope was maybe to be able to stop working full time and go down to part time while I pursued things that made me happy, creative things. That was it. And it changed very rapidly. My original plans changed very, very, very rapidly. Before I knew it, I was able to live off of this. I identified that if I were to just quit my job and run with it, I had a chance to find more success. And I was accurate and I was correct about that. And that's like a little lesson in life where sometimes you got to just go for it. And now my goal is to go as long as I can, with identifying that there's maybe a potential endpoint that I might not be able to control. And if that is the case, I should have other ideas in mind. And that's why you've heard me mention radio and stuff, because I identify that I should keep my mind open to all avenues, and I should be thinking about directions I could go from streaming, things that would smoothly transition away from streaming if and when I have to, because I feel like there's likely an inevitable end to this journey, but I could be wrong. There's people who have been streaming on Twitch for 8+ years, but those people were also on Twitch when it all started. And I got into this pretty late. And I full-heartedly believe that there's probably more of a definite endpoint for me than maybe some of those barb crossings and some of those smokaloos and some of those fienies, right? I could be wrong, but I think there could be. So because of that mindset, I try to keep myself open to the possibilities of, where I could go next. What could be the next step, the next leg of this journey? Well, I've already started building up a community. So I asked myself, well, where could I take this community? How could I take this and move it to somewhere else? How could I transition from here? And the biggest answer for me and my soul was radio. Some sort of radio show, some sort of show that has a similar vibe to a stream, which a lot of people on Twitch, they listen to Twitch. They don't just watch. And that could also let me transition to musical stuff, which I'm a big music buff, and I would love to work with music over time. So that's kind of where my thoughts went. But to answer your question, I intend to stream as long as possible. If I could be making content on Twitch or on YouTube, live content specifically, I will be doing it as long as I can. I love it. I love everything that I do every day. And I would love to just grow from here and just keep expanding on what I've already done. Great question. Great question. Welcome in, Emily. What are the first 5 emotes you would commission? Are you asking what my first 5 emotes that I commissioned were? Is that what you're asking? I can actually answer that. Probably a loaded question, but what are some of the tips on building a community as big as yours? My biggest tip for building a community, specifically, not just a stream. So to give you some history here, I actually started building a community before I started streaming. And I did this on Discord. And I reached out to a couple buddies. I did not do it alone. And I said, do you guys want to build a community with me that we could eventually grow into, maybe even do more with? A lot of them said, yeah, let's go. So the journey began. And what we did is we almost guerrilla warfare our Discord links into every conversation. We guerrilla warfared our Discord links into every conversation, everywhere we were. We're playing Fortnite, Discord links. League of Legends, Discord links. Everywhere we were, anywhere in existence, we're just popping Discord links saying, come join us. We game all day. But we didn't just fake people out. We did game all day. If I wasn't working, I was in my Discord gaming. In voice chat, perpetually for 2 years straight. Always available to talk, always available to chat, always down the game with the boys, the girls, the non-binaries, right? And that's how it all started. So I guess what you could take away from that is consistency, getting yourself out there, considering places like Discord. It doesn't all have to start on Twitch. In fact, you probably don't want to start on Twitch. Twitch is the kind of platform you want to bring your community to. You don't want to start here. So as far as building a community is concerned, I think Discord is probably one of the biggest tips I could give anybody. Start on go and build a Discord. Try to get some people to maybe work alongside you if you can somehow manage that, and get yourself out there. You know, you could start off on the Twitter, you can get on YouTube, make YouTube videos. YouTube content is permanent, and you have to identify something about Twitch. You're only as good as your next live stream on Twitch. You only exist when you're live on Twitch. As soon as I turn off my stream, I do not exist anymore. Now, why is YouTube different? Because YouTube, the videos are always there. Somebody 10 years from now could find the YouTube video I just released about Tangy. It's permanent content, and that is how you build a community. So I don't think starting with live content is a place to begin building a community. In fact, you want to be making short form or long form video based content, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. You want to be on places where your content is permanent. Then bring that community to Twitch and give them a live experience as well. But heed my words when I say you're only as good as a streamer when you're live. And it sucks. Nobody ain't watching no VODs on Twitch. Now, of course, I'm overgeneralizing. People do. But you get what I'm saying? So to answer your question, it would be Discord would be a really good place to start building a community. YouTube, start with YouTube videos, find a genre, find a niche, and start building within it. And get out, put yourself out there. Put yourself out there. Find a thing that works for you, even if it's not your main thing forever. People get so afraid to choose a thing. I had somebody come in my chat one day and call me a one-trick pony indirectly because I chose to have a thing. Don't be afraid to have a thing, even if you had to change up your thing at some point. Go find a thing. Be the crafter, the musician, the gamer, the Animal Crosser, the Stardew. Find a thing and latch onto it and build off of it. Even if it takes you 5 years, you could still build, but it's a lot harder to build when you're trying to do 10 things. Now, you know, there's room in this conversation to mention that you should be experimenting when you're a new community, and when you're trying to grow, you should be experimenting to find things that work for you. So please always keep that in mind. Don't close other opportunities just because you're focusing on one. Within 3 months of my stream, I started playing Stardew Valley. I had already found my thing. I was an Animal Crosser. And I said to myself, where could I go from here? 3 months in, 30 viewers watching me. So you know what? Stardew Valley is a really good option. Let's go. Then I had 2 things. Look at me now. Still one of my main games. In fact, I'm getting more viewership off of Stardew streams right now than Animal Crossing. But I thought I was the Animal Crosser. I'm having an identity crisis. I might be the Stardew Valley guy. I didn't even know. I better switch my hat real quick. So you want to keep open doors, but you also don't be afraid to latch on to stuff. It's okay. Don't be afraid. It's okay if you got to be the Mario guy for a couple years to build your community. You got to do whatever it takes. It's a rat race out here, and it's a pretty brutal rat race. Did you create content before streaming? Yes. Beautiful question, by the way, Overlord. Beautiful question. Did I create content before streaming? Yes. I created content on Tumblr. Yes, you guys want to see my Tumblr? Hold on, dude. Tumblr.com. Wait, what is it? It's hyliandescent.tumblr.com. Welcome to my content haven. This is me. This was my content. So if you go to my Tumblr and you search the tag Hylian Descent, you'll find all the content that I made before I started streaming. This is all my content. Now, I didn't have a computer that could handle streaming. So what did I do? I started anywhere I could. I said, you know what? I'm going to make GIF-based content, and I'm going to make video-based or picture-based content. Look at my Tumblr. Let's just take a look real quick, because people think that content creation has to be video at this point. Look what I did. This is the content I would make. Look at these. I'd make these little cute GIFs. Look at them. And it'd be Pecan's house. And then I'd say it was Animal Crossing GameCube. I'd take pictures of me playing my games. And it wasn't just Animal Crossing. Oh boy, it wasn't just Animal Crossing. Let's go ahead and go over here real quick. I was doing this with Wargroove. I was doing this with Minecraft. Any game that I played, I would take thousands of screenshots. Look at this. Hey, you turd face. I don't like you. And then I would leave cool commentary. I was playing Fallout 2. I was playing Skyrim. There's so much Skyrim content on this. It's ridiculous. Look at this. Kirby stuff. I made memes. Anybody play Morrowind? Know what a Sky Racer is? One of my favorite memes I've ever made. The class is Jesse Pinkerton. Any Morrowind fans, dude? Right? So like, heck yeah, I created content before I streamed. Because I've always been a creative soul and I knew that I wanted to stream at some point. So I said, how can I begin my streaming journey without beginning my streaming journey? Right here. Want to know something cool about this? I have this Tumblr at one point had 5,000 followers. All Animal Crossing. Now, a lot of the bots got removed off the platform. You realize that most of them were bots. I'm down to maybe 3,000. But at some point, I had 5,000 followers on this Tumblr, just sitting here posting stupid game stuff. Some of my most liked posts is Tangy's house and a couple of the houses that I posted. Some of my most liked content was Animal Crossing stuff. Like I have like a couple here. I'll show you one of my most liked things of all time. Hold on. One of my most liked things of all time. I'll show you right now. Hold on. Look at this. 2,500 notes. Look at this. 2,500 notes here. October 31st is Halloween. Look at that. So, you know, what I want you guys to take away from this is that don't limit yourself because you don't have the technology to do what you want to do. Don't limit yourself. You could literally be making content in any way, shape, or form as long as you are passionate about what you care about. I have been in the Animal Crossing community making Animal Crossing content for almost 3 years before I sat down and started streaming, if not longer. I think it was 5 years. And that's what you could take away from this. Your journey doesn't have to start and end on Twitch. Your journey doesn't have to start and end where you want it to. Sometimes you have to suck it up and you have to make content in any way that you can. And I sat down and said, I'm going to start on Tumblr. And that's what you could really take away from this conversation. I wish I could find my most liked thing. It's a funny picture of Mitzi crying, or Piper crying and saying she's crying tears of joy. I can't find it, but it's somewhere in here. It's got like thousands and thousands of likes. And it's just a picture of Mitzi crying. And it's like, I'm crying tears of joy. Now, we all know that Tumblr is a pretty dead platform, so I wasn't able to transfer almost any of this energy over to my other platforms. Sadly, I wasn't able to transfer a ton of this growth to other platforms, but the fact that I still put myself out there probably helped somewhat. I don't know. I like to think so, right? I like to think so. So, good question. What was your first 5 emotes? My first 5 emotes were Tangy Love. Hold on. My first 5 emotes were Love 2, Angry Neighbor. I don't know if you have BTTV installed, but you can look at it over here. It was a picture of Wilson from Tim the Toolman Taylor or whatever, that show. Those were my first 2, alongside Hans Smug. And what else was there? Woo. And then there's one more. Han Smug, Woo, Angry Neighbor, Tangy Love, and then there's one more. Let me think. Let me look at my emote list. There's one more. There was one more. I don't remember what it was. It's on my computer probably. But yeah, those are 4 of the 5 right there. Yeah. And Tangy Love 2, HDes Love 2 was my first ever commissioned emote. I spent $50 freaking on a single emote like an idiot. But I mean, sometimes it's worth it to pay an artist extra, right? But that's a pretty high price, to be fair. I can usually get 3 for $50 nowadays. So pretty high price, to be fair. All right, what else we got here? Good question so far. That was a great answer. Thank you. Have you ever thought about doing music reviews? Yes. In fact, Chillaxin' Vibes. I wanted to do that on Twitch, and then all of a sudden the big DMCA crisis happened, and I decided against it. So my other idea was to do it on an alt account. On an alt account, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a second account on Twitch, which I already have, and I'm gonna do music reviews on that. However, I haven't committed to it. I would absolutely love to not only do music review streams or music review videos, but also to have streams where we talk music theory, where the chat gives me a song and I play the song and then we talk about it, and then I play a song and we talk about it, and then somebody else gives me a song and we play it and we talk about it, and we go back and forth and have a music conversation, a music discussion. I would be in love with a show like that. And Twitch is not the place for it. Neither is YouTube. So if I were to do it on Twitch or YouTube, I would just have to do it with an extra account. So sadly, you'll never see that on twitch.tv/HylianDescent. You'll only see that on a dummy account, and you would have to be a part of the Discord, or you'd have to be here when I announced that I would do it. Regardless, it wouldn't be as accessible as this stream. I would have to do it somewhere where I wouldn't mind getting in trouble. So yeah. But yes, to answer your question, I've wanted to do that. Would you ever consider starting your own podcast? Yes. The same question with like the radio vibes. When I say radio, I also am kind of considering podcast. We've actually done a podcast. If you actually dig into the YouTube, I did about 5 to 6 episodes of a podcast called Blather's Broadcast, in which I would sit down and interview an Animal Crosser from the Animal Crossing community, as well as give you the most updated news in Animal Crossing, as well as within the community. I'd show off the creative endeavors from the community. Sometimes people would have crazy islands on Reddit and stuff, and we'd show it off. And it was called Blather's Broadcast. This was my first attempt at doing a podcast. I did it for about 5 or 6 episodes. We were Rosie Poo. Where's the Rosie command? Exclamation point hippo, I think. Like, we did Rosie Poo. We interviewed our friend Panberry a bunch. It was fun. It was really fun. And I stopped doing it because I didn't want to do a podcast just on Animal Crossing. I realized that I had bigger aspirations than that. And I wanted to maybe dive into like video games as a whole, or Nintendo as a whole. And that's where the idea of a radio show came on, in which maybe I could do some sort of like radio show where I incorporate music, indie artists and stuff, as well as gaming news. And I'm still kind of ironing out the idea and the concept, but I think that radio idea is also a podcast idea in one, right? So yes, I have considered a podcast. Yeah. Do you feel any pressure to be a source of positivity? How do you ensure your private life stays that way? Alligator, good question. The only pressure that I have to be a source of positivity is pressure that I put on myself. And let me explain. I've dealt with like depression and, low lows a lot in my life, specifically one time in my 20s where I learned that writing was a big important tool to me. I used to write a lot. I started writing, and writing helped me put things in perspective. It helped me identify some of my demons and stuff and some of my problems. And then I started listening to a lot of positive, uplifting music. And then I also started looking more into like optimistic and positive messages. Like once a day, I'd read a message on a website that was like, you know, you're strong or something, right? Right. So, yo, thank you, Super Rin. What's up, baby?
Add an optional
27,
message for
baby.
Hylian descent.
So my point is that early on in my life, about my age 20, I learned the power of positivity and optimism. And maybe people don't like this talk. I don't care. I learned that if I woke up in the morning and told myself I was a badass every day, I would feel like more of a badass. And this is where I learned the power of the subconscious. The subconscious is strong. And what you feed your freaking subconscious is how you feel every day. So if you wake up and you call yourself an asshole every day, you're an asshole. And you really have to really understand, like, it's the same thing with the music you put into your ears, the media you watch. So I learned this. And as I learned this, I realized that I do personally want to be a source of positivity because there's so little of that on the internet. Now, so when I first started my stream, I had this segment called Positive Morning Vibes. I had all this stuff. I was really trying to be the good vibes dude. And I realized really quickly that you can do all that stuff without advertising you're doing it. And I dropped it all. Literally dropped it all. Because I realized that there's a little bit too much of that happening, and those people could very well be virtue signaling. Those people could very well just be doing it because they know that people are attracted to it. And I'm not calling anybody out. I'm not making any assumptions. But the point is I realized personally that I didn't have to advertise good vibes. I didn't have to advertise positivity to be a positive force on Twitch and on the internet and within my content. So, yes, I do put pressure on myself to ensure that I am not ruining anybody's day. My philosophy is simply this. You come find my stream, you come watch my show. I want you to leave feeling better than when you found my show. It's no more, no less. So I don't go out trying to be the positive, I'm gonna make the world better. I'm too much of a realist for that. And to be honest, I listen to way too much Aesop Rock. I'm too much for that. So what I do is I remind myself that it would be a shame for somebody to walk away from my stream in a worse state or having a worse day than when they found it. So my goal every single day with my content is just to make all of your days better in some way, shape, or form. Just make it better. Whether I'm entertaining you, I'm uplifting you, I'm sharing my wisdom, you're learning from my words, from my journey. I'm nothing more than some oaf on a screen, right? That's my goal. I just want people who find my stream to be better off than when they found it in some way. Again, doesn't have to be some drastic thing. It could simply be you're entertained more than you were, right? And that's kind of how, that's the maximum amount of pressure I put on myself to be a positive force. That's it. So to answer your question, I do feel pressure, but it's only pressure I put on myself. I've stopped letting the world pressure me to be that because I know who I am. And I walk the walk. I don't talk the talk. Who cares? And that's the goal. You know, I'll never forget a message I got from a viewer years ago, my first year of streaming. This guy sent me a message. It's gonna make me tear up to talk about this. But he sent me a message and he said, you know, I've been in the military for years, and he's like, and my captain or whatever, my lieutenant always told me that you should always try to make people's days better than when they found you. He said, you know, my captain always said that, like, if you're out there making the world a slightly better place than when you walked away from it, someone's live interactions, then you're doing your part. And he's like, dude, and you do that. This message this dude sent me, it was like one of my first ever messages like this. I was like 6 months into a year, or about 6 months to a year into streaming. And he was like, you do that, man. You go out there and you make every day better, no matter what's going on. Dude, I broke down. I was like, holy heck, dude, I'm just a dude playing games, right? But it started making me realize very quickly that having this platform is more than just playing games. And I was like, wow, like I can, even if I don't, again, even if I don't showboat it and make it some spectacle, positivity, I could still make a difference in people's lives. And I was like, that's cool, man. That's rad. And I just wanted to share that because like that was one of those moments in my streaming career where I really learned. And then that's maybe when I started putting a little extra pressure on myself to be mindful of the other minds that enter my chat. You learn in retail, you never know how bad of a day somebody's having, right? So when somebody comes into your store in retail, they're screaming at you. They're pissed. Give me my cigarettes. Ugh. And your first thought is, who the hell does this person think they are? But if you take a second to show a little empathy, that person could have just lost their mother or something. That person could be having the shittiest day they've ever had in existence. Now, that doesn't mean that it's okay for them to take it out on you. But a little empathy goes a super fucking long way. And you realize, you know what? Just let it be. Don't fight back. Don't scream back. Don't get pissed. Just, okay, you're clearly having a bad day, right? And again, I'm not saying this is an excuse for all the Karens in the world. I'm just saying if we're mindful of the minds that walk into our chat, I think it helps this whole streaming thing go a little bit smooth, right? And again, you could apply that to retail. I know there's a lot of retail cats out there, and I know you know what I'm talking about. Doesn't feel fair always, but you never know what that person's going through. And sometimes it's worth it to think about that, whether or not you feel like you should, right? I don't know. Let's continue. Thank you. Good question. Super, super good question. I hope I gave you most of the answers you were looking for. When was your first stream? Did you start streaming on Twitch or another platform? My first stream was on Twitch. And my first technical stream was actually in 2018. And I played a game called Into the Breach that they're just about to update. I'm so excited. And I got 16 viewers. I was so excited, dude. It was all my Discord buddies. I was like, hey, everybody, I'm going to try to stream off my junky computer. I don't have a camera. I have a terrible microphone. You want to come hang out? And they're like, yeah. And 16 people watched me play Into the Breach. I never streamed again for a whole year. By the end of that next year, into 2019, I finally summoned up the motivation to buy a computer because I was procrastinating. And I bought a computer, and then my first official stream was Breath of the freaking Wild on a Friday night. And I never looked back. It was fun. All Twitch, though. All Twitch. The Tumblr days. As a new streamer, would you say watching others is just as important as editing? More important than constantly streaming? Yes. Ooh, Frank the Tank. Beautiful, beautiful question. As a new streamer, I think you can learn so much from watching others. And in fact, that's how I spent my first couple years of content creation. I told you guys I wasn't on Twitch, right? I wasn't on Twitch. I was creating content on Tumblr. I was procrastinating buying a computer, right? So what did I do? I did research. Now you ask yourself, what were you researching? Well, I sat and watched streamers and studied whether I was taking notes or not. I took some real notes. The idea, the business. What did I need to become a streamer? So it started off with taking notes like camera, quality, overlays. How do I do this? Researching. Where do I get overlays from? How do emotes work? But then I started taking away more than that. Now there's a really, really dope streamer out there, Frank the Tank, called Ludwig. And Ludwig makes a comment. Ludwig makes a comment where he goes, sit down and write down 3 names of streamers that you love and that you want to emulate. And start there as a streamer. Now, a lot of times you think to yourself, oh, I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't copy people. Throw that shit out of here. If you are a brand new streamer, find 3 or 4 or 5 streamers that you are absolutely in love with. And start off by emulating what they do. And then slowly but surely manipulate it to your own style. manipulate it and shape it into your own thing. At the end of the day, you always want to be as original as possible. But there is no shame in starting off by impersonating, by emulating is the best word I think here, some of the streamers you love. Because where else are you going to start? You know, now sure, maybe some of us out here are just, you know, able to pull this off without that. I don't know. You know, I'm sure there's examples where you don't have to do that, but I think that was some super cool advice from Ludwig. And to answer your question, like, I think sitting and watching is just as important as you know, the potential streaming of yourself. So like that was your full question, and that's my answer. Yes, it is just as important to sit back and watch and learn as a new streamer as constantly streaming. In fact, most bigger streamers will tell you to stop streaming so much and go focus on some YouTube videos or go focus on, you know, it's like something along those lines, right? Like I think a lot of bigger streamers will tell you that streaming a bunch is actually not the answer. And that you are better off doing less streaming and more like YouTube videos and like Twitter and TikTok and all that stuff, and then make streaming just be the place where you try to bring people to, right? So to better elaborate, because I got distracted there's a lot of people out there that are of the mind that if you are streaming 9 to 5 days a week, you are better off streaming 9 to 5 3 days a week and spending 2 days researching, learning, watching, and making YouTube videos. And I am of those people. I agree with that. Now, however, this is where streaming gets weird, and we'll drop this conversation in just a sec here, like this question. I just said earlier, when it comes to Twitch, you only exist when you're live. And this is why content creation, specifically streaming, is so brutal. Because you have to somehow simultaneously be always live, but also not fall into the trap of thinking a 9 to 5 to 5 viewers is ever going to get you anywhere. So you have to somehow balance everything. I went the ignorant route. I just streamed as much as I could until my brain broke, and I even kind of crumbled a little bit last year. But not everyone could do that. Some people have families and stuff, right? I think that the healthiest approach is probably less streaming than you think you need, but then you really got to put the work in other platforms. It's just this is like I could literally stop and just talk about this alone. It's such a weird thing. It's like yeah, like, should you be streaming all day and trying to find viewers? Should you be working on other platforms? Like, it's just like, oh my Lord, right? But I think the kicker here is that don't forget that Twitch is a place you're supposed to bring an already established community. That's the real thing you want to take away from this conversation, Frank. You're supposed to bring an already established community to Twitch, not necessarily supposed to build on Twitch. And I think that's really what you could take away from that talk. Neanderthal, are you still here, dude? I can answer your question real quick, buddy, since you're leaving. Let me know. Are you still here, buddy? Meanwhile, let me go check another question here. I hope that answered for you, Frank. What was your very first stream like? Is there a way to see it today? You can see remnants of my first stream buried into Twitch. I can find it for you if you want. You can see remnants of some of my first streams, bits and pieces, little highlights. But back then, I purposely didn't save any of it because I felt like I was such a noob. I regret that. So there's something to be learned about everything we talk about today. Save every bit of content you ever make. Don't do what I did. I said to myself back then, I don't want anybody to see me be a scrub. I don't want anyone to see this quality. I don't want anyone to ever see me this way. So I just made a point to not save any of it. And then I learned 3 years in that people love the journey. people love watching you go from zero to hero. And there's tons of people who would absolutely love watching my first year of streams, and barely any of it exists. And that was a mistake. That was a big mistake. What is a piece of equipment you think people should invest in? Well, it's not a piece of equipment, but internet. Internet's like the biggest thing, but microphone. I think microphone is even more important than video, than camera. In fact, I think camera is optional. I think it's the hard road if you don't use a camera or some sort of VTuber, but I think it's the hard road. Good thing VTubing and stuff is becoming more acceptable and more mainstream, because that's really nice for the non-camera folk. That being said, microphone. If there's one piece of equipment you can invest in above all else as a brand new streamer, and you already have decent internet, microphone. Because I'm just gonna throw a fake number out there, okay? I wouldn't be surprised if 80% of streams are listened to versus watched. Think about it. You're at work, you're gaming on your own, you're relaxing, watching, you're holding your baby, feeding your baby. There's 1,000 things you could be doing, but you could still listen in. That's the Twitch experience in a nutshell. And if your microphone and your mixer and your audio mixing isn't good, if people are dealing with screaming goats the whole time because you think it's funny to get $1, you are so wrong. That's a good thing to bring up right now. On that note, don't do that. If you want my humble opinion, if you're gonna take 100 biddies for someone to scream dicks into the freaking ears of your viewers, you are really, really not gonna be able to provide an experience that the majority of Twitch users want. Now, sure, maybe there's a bunch of people who love sitting around your stream and making fart noises and making loud goat screams. Is that really worth 100 bits? You should be focusing on growing your stream. Who cares about money? You should be focusing on creating an environment that is easily accessible and easy listening and easy to chill and vibe, dude. No amount of money, if you're trying to grow as a streamer, is worth loud, obnoxious noises in people's ears while they're watching your show. This is why you rarely ever get a blip from me. Rarely. And when you do get a blip, I apologize profusely. My sound is always the priority. My viewers' ears are the priority. Now, let's lay off the negativity for a second and let's just talk about real quick a scenario where that would be a good thing. Maybe you're not trying to grow on Twitch. Maybe you're not trying to play the rat race and you just simply want to make a little bit of extra cash off of streaming. I think that is a perfect scenario to just allow some goat noises, right? Everyone streams for different reasons, dude. And you could stream for different reasons. Let's say you are completely content being a 10 to 20 viewer Andy. That's fine. Dude, I know streamers that with 50 viewers that make more money than me. I know streamers with 30 viewers that at one point I was a partner on Twitch. They had 30 viewers and they made twice my income because they knew how to make money. They had a bunch of alerts for people. Oh, $12, 1, 2, 3, 4 gives me this noise alert, and you could scare me for $10, and you can make dick noises for $4, and they just knew how to monetize. They didn't care. They don't care necessarily about growing. They just wanted cash. And some people love that stuff. People will eat that stuff up. So you have to ask yourself when you're going into streaming, what are you trying to accomplish? Growth doesn't have to be the option. You don't have to play the rat race. You can just simply relax and do what is best for you. If you are just trying to make extra cash, you work part-time, do your thing. Make some cash, right? I just want to point out that there is a time and a place for those types of streams and that type of environment. It's fine, right? One of my favorite streams to hang out in is Rosie Poo's stream. When I go there, I know what to expect. Anybody here hang out with Rosie Poo? She's phenomenal caster. But she does it as a side gig alongside her artistry, alongside her comic book work. And she decided, I'm going to do what I can to make some extra cash. So she has fun alerts and fun bit noises, stuff that works really well for her environment and for her style of streaming. You don't have to do what I do. Find your own path and do what works for you. But I'll tell you right now, if you're trying to grow, in most cases, you need to be leery of that kind of stuff. And you need to think about your viewers' ears and the audio experience of your show. But I guarantee you there's been a streamer out there that went from 0 viewers to thousands, screaming dick in their viewers' ear the whole time. There's always an exception to the rule. You could be that exception if you want to be. Go for it. Hey, go for it. Shoot. Streaming was the exception to the rule. The amount of people in my life that told me I was an idiot for trying to do this. I became the exception. So do what's best for you. And just own it, baby. Just own it, baby. Don't half step. That never goes anywhere. Let's see here. You're right about the phony baloney. Hey, dude, thank you. Thank you. All right. Neanderthal had to step away. What is your biggest challenges you face being a streamer? The mental health side of it. The mental health side of it. I think being so mixed up in social media, constantly all day, every day, sitting there, receiving feedback, just like the balance of your own mental health versus the amount of work that you put in and the amount of people you interact with, and but from the trolls to the good vibes, all of it, it's all just overwhelming. I read a message one day in a Twitch chat where somebody was like, human brains haven't evolved to deal with this. And it's like, dude, true. Right? And it's like, I think the hardest thing for me as a streamer that's the biggest challenge I've faced, is knowing when to just back off and let myself breathe. And it took me 3 years to even get close to figuring out how to do it. 3 freaking years to where I finally know my limits, dude. And I know when I just wake up and I'm like, I just need to take a day off. But those first couple years, I pushed myself and pushed myself and pushed myself. And therefore, I produced content that wasn't always top tier. Because I would come to stream, crawling into stream, half dead, half asleep, 3 hours of sleep, because I was working all night on a video. When it all just came down to me realizing, like, dude, stop. Figure out when to take a breath, right? And I think that's been my biggest challenge as a streamer, is understanding. There's a book that got written out about it. Shout out to Heart Support. Understanding that I am not my stream. My stream is not me. It's like the old comment of like, sword, are you the sword? Or are you the man behind the sword, right? You ever, those cheesy comments? It's like that. It's like, you have to really, if you're really doing this full time, you have to, at some point, you have to identify that Hylian and Joshua aren't the same person necessarily. And you have to let yourself separate those things, right? Like, I am not my stream. So when somebody comes into my chat and, critiques me or trolls me, like, I have to figure out how to separate those things, right? And that goes into a second comment. One of my biggest challenges as a streamer was dealing with adversity. I didn't deal with a lot of trolls and stuff. I saw another question in there, so I'm going to answer this question at the same time. Do you get a lot of hate messages and trolls and stuff, and how do you deal with that? So that's a perfect transition to that question real quick. No, I don't get a lot of that, but I'm a softie. And I couldn't even deal with that in the kitchen. Dude, I worked in the kitchen for years and I could not handle working in the kitchen. Because these dudes every day, dude, I literally had a dude that when I walked into work every day, he called me ugly every day. Oh, big uglies here. I had to work that place for 1.5 years. Every single day. And I was the kind of person that would internalize it. And as sick as it sounds, I would believe it, dude. And it took me 3 freaking years of streaming to like figure out how to not let people's perception of me and their words affect me personally. It was hard, dude. It was the hardest thing I've dealt with in streaming, was figuring out how to get a thick enough skin to not let people's perception of me and their words affect me. But again, 3 years in, I'm proud to say that I have figured it out. And I still have a big heart, and I still deal with like some things sometimes, like, you know, if I had like, I'll feel bad if I like call somebody out or something. Like, I'll still feel bad, and I'll still have some stuff like that I deal with after stream, right? Stuff sticks with me. I internalize a lot, but I've really, really thickened up my skin in 3 years, right? Right? Like, it's tough. It took me a while, but it's tough, dude, right? That was probably one of my biggest challenges. So there was 2 questions in one there. It's not always about the content, it's about the personality of the streamer. Yo, what up, mysterious side? Yo, welcome in here. Copying aspects of other streamers is fine, but you do have to find your ways to make it your own. Exactly. Have you ever considered reviewing streams and giving critiques? I have. Yes, I have considered that. And you know what? I might do that. I might do that in the future. I haven't figured out. I think like it would start as a sub-only thing or something. I've considered that. To answer your question, yes, I have considered offering a service in which I show up to your stream, I watch it for a couple weeks. I'm actually doing this for another viewer right now. I'm not going to call them out, but they reached out to me and they said, could you give me solid advice about my stream? They've been waiting for an answer for months, but it's because I didn't want to just give them an answer. And I've just been sneakily watching their stream for months so that I can sit down and give them real advice. And during this process, I thought, like, you know what, dude, I could probably do this. Like, I could probably give people sincere advice on where they could go with their stream and what they could maybe do to help grow within the streaming space and with content creation, right? And like, it's taking notes while watching them and stuff, just like really having a good time with it, owning it, right? And like, I'm going to get back to that person eventually. It might be, you know, a little while still, but like, you know, I want to get back to them about it. Cause like, I think that is something I could do one day. It's a cool question. Good question. What can I ask Hylian Descent? Can you talk about your toughest, most difficult day of streaming and what you learned from that experience? The most difficult day of streaming. It all kind of blurs together, right? But I think the most difficult day of streaming I had or one of the most difficult days of streaming that I think I ever had was probably it's tech stuff. It's tech stuff. That's just the answer. It's tech stuff. The most difficult days for me as a streamer have been days where my internet is crumbling around me. And the truth is, early in my streaming days, I had a lot of internet issues and I powered through it a lot. And I think one of my most difficult days of streaming was I had just received my partnership and New Horizons is a month away. It's the end of February. I just got my partnership, ! HGG day. It's like, and New Horizons is literally not even a month away. And my internet starts crumbling in front of me. And it keeps happening for days. And I'll never forget this feeling. All of a sudden, people come into my chat and they're like, oh, you know, Twitch reached out to us and offered us the front page of Twitch as Animal Crossers. And then I check my email and I'm not getting these offers. And day after day goes by and Twitch isn't acknowledging. I just put a whole year of nothing but Animal Crossing into Twitch. And because I still to this day blame my internet. And because of my internet, Twitch did not acknowledge me and did not offer me front page for a week. Everyone around me, besides for my boy Daz, got offered front page of Twitch as Animal Crossers. I'm sitting here as what I feel like the Animal Crossing guy, or one of them. And they didn't give me an offer. And like between the internet crumbling and between I felt so stupid. I felt so low. Like I just felt like You know, I just got this partnership and I couldn't even celebrate. And like, I remember that like chunk of time, those chunks of streams, watching the start of Animal Crossing releases and watching everyone around me like find this extra success. And I was sitting there like, here we go again. Like I'm back on the grind, right? In some ways that helped me, reminded me that like you got to work hard. There is no easy way. But I remember that being some of my hardest streams. Like that was definitely the hardest thing to swallow. But to answer your question, some of my toughest days came from tech issues. And then recovering, flipping back, being able to continue streaming after the internet breaks down and stuff. Something I still struggle with to this day. So I hope that was a decent answer. It's kind of hard to zero in on a single day. I could think of a couple, but it's kind of hard to zero in on a single day for sure. So Neanderthal, you're back, so I'm going to answer your question, okay? I waited for you. Neanderthal says, how hard is it to find a balance between the audience that is here for variety and the audience that is primarily only wants Animal Crossing or Stardew content? So that's probably one of the hardest things as a streamer, is identifying the key moments when variety is welcome and the key moments when it's not. And understanding the risk and what you're sacrificing versus not. And this is tough. No, we played Stardew Valley first, Nazar. So to explain myself, I think I learned very early on that the more I grow, the more freedom that I will have. That is the biggest takeaway I have to that. I learned that the smaller streamer you are, if you're trying to grow, the less freedom you have. I identified this right away as a streamer. I was like, okay, so I used to say this as a joke. I'm not allowed to do anything that I want to do for 5 years of streaming. And I have a 5-year plan in my brain. We're currently in our 4th year of streaming. And I gave myself a 5-year plan. And I said, okay, so you're going to stick to your guns for 5 years. And then depending on where you are at the end of the 5 years, you're going to give yourself more freedom. Because I realized right away, I was like, you just aren't allowed to do what you want to do if you're trying to grow. And yes, again, there's always exceptions to the rule. You could always argue that there's somebody out there who grew off of variety. But you have to understand, it's already bad enough trying to grow as a content creator in 2020, let alone trying to grow as a variety caster. It's brutal. It's beyond brutal. There's not even a word that I can think of. It's nasty. It's a rat race. And it's hard because you want to transition. You want to find the next thing that can maybe help you blow up more, or maybe could be good for your community. But then you take your first step out of the swamp and everyone stops watching you. And I'll never forget, Neanderthal, the first time it happened to me. I'll never forget. I'll never forget when I had to stop playing Zelda as Highly in Descent to get my partnership on Twitch. And I sat there and I looked at my schedule and I said, when I play Zelda, I get 50 viewers if I'm lucky. I play Animal Crossing, I get 120. And it smacked me in my face as a small streamer. I was like, what am I thinking? I'm not allowed to do anything. And you know what I did? I dropped every game off my schedule and I played Animal Crossing for 2 months straight and got my freaking partnership. But I didn't stop there. I said to myself, gotta own it. And then for the next whole year, I pretty much only played Animal Crossing and like a little bit of variety. And I'll tell you, every single time throughout that whole second year of streaming that I tried to step away from Animal Crossing, you take this hit that you almost have to learn not to take personal. So you ask if it's hard. It's brutal. It's brutal to sit down and say, okay, I have 150 average viewers on Twitch over the past 30 days. And then you decide to load up some Breath of the Wild and there's 60 people watching. And you're just like, all these people claim that they're here for you. They're not here for you. And I had to learn the most nasty truth about Twitch, that people consume content the way that they want. And for all of the love that people give me and all of the love that people give streamers, they watch streamers for streamers. I watch streamer for the personality. For all the Neanderthals that sit here through Animal Crossing every day and Pokemon and all the stuff he hates. Because Neanderthal's here for me. And how many of you are here for me? I'm blessed, right? You realize the harsh truth that most people are not going to stick around for something they don't want to watch. So it doesn't matter. And this is not me calling people out. This is not me being rude. This is just the truth. People consume content when they want, the way that they want. So if you decide to go from Animal Crossing to The Legend of Zelda, and there's people in your chat who have never even heard of Zelda, they feel lost. They don't know what's going on. It's hard to follow. So unless you really, really made an impact on them, which again, I'm blessed, a lot of you stick around, they're gone. I'll go watch this person today. And the hardest part is that people will reassure you that they're here for you. And that's the part that's hard. They reassure you that they're here for you, but then they don't stick around when you switch games. And it leaves you in this duality. It leaves you in this heartache where you're like, what do I do? What do I do? Like, are they here or are they not? Right. And this is like, that was a learning experience. And through my second year, I learned that. And I learned how to deal with those feelings. And I learned to not care about that. And I learned to realize that that's okay. Instead of getting upset about it, right? Instead of getting upset about it, instead of getting put down about it, oh man, I identified this as a good thing. You know what I did? I asked myself, how do you consume content, Josh? And I said, well, if I go to watch a streamer that normally plays Zelda and today he's playing Mario, I kind of click away. I'm like, oh, let me go see if I can find someone else to watch today. And you end up realizing that it's okay. People are going, it's fine. And don't look at it as a negative thing. Don't look at it as a positive thing. Just it is what it will be, right? And then once you accept it, you realize that you're always going to have your core followers, your people that are there for you. And it's important you appeal to them and not always to the flow, not always to the floaters. So again, I'm not trying to be mean or rude. If you consume content, if you only come watch me for Animal Crossing, that is fine. I'm not necessarily trying to call you fluff. I'm saying that, so a nicer way to word that is, it's okay to have viewer fall off, and it's okay, but you do have to come to a level of acceptance that it's going to happen. And then for me personally, because I'm still trying to grow and I'm not willing to stagnate out, I have to make the harsh decision that I have to try to balance everything perfectly. That's what I do. I try to sit here and balance everything perfectly. I try to still appeal to the people that built my stream up. Think about it this way. Let me stop what I'm saying for a second and let me reset. Think about it this way. I spent 2.5, 3 years playing it, basically playing Animal Crossing in Stardew Valley. In some ways, it would be rude for me to not play those games. Now, you are the boss of your stream. You could do whatever the heck you want. But at the end of the day, I have too big of a heart to do that. I identified really early that I love the people that helped build my community. The people that came here for Animal Crossing, they loved my vibe. And maybe those people are going to go watch someone else when I don't play Animal Crossing. That is okay. I'm still not going to turn my back on the people who built my community. Without the Crossers and the Stardew Valleyers, I wouldn't be anywhere near where I am. So instead of thinking about it like, oh, they only want to watch AC, think about it, they only want to watch AC, and that is okay. And I'm never going to drop that group. I'm never going to drop those people to the best that I can. I will try as hard as I can, to the points where, I would never force it, because forced content's gross. But I will try as hard as I can to always take care of the people who built my community. But it's all about that balance. And that's what Neanderthal asked. How hard is it to balance? It's hard, dude. It's hard. It's how do I still make sure I take care of that core, my core group of people who love Animal Crossing, who come here for AC, who help build my community, but also take care of the Neanderthals who maybe came in through AC, but they know in my heart that I'm a Zelda-er. And they know that, and they would love to see me do other games. I still say it to this day. My favorite streams of all time before Ocarina was Subnautica. Subnautica was my favorite stream of all time. 3 years of streaming Subnautica until Ocarina. Ocarina of Time is now my favorite stream ever. It was amazing. Set 8-9 episodes. It was like 7 days straight of Ocarina, right? Sure, I love my Animal Crossing content. Yeah, sure, I love the content that built my community, but my favorite shows were variety, because I was so passionate about it. And there's viewers who saw that and they were like, dude, this is amazing. And they loved it right alongside me, right? So it's tough. I think that to finalize this statement, the bigger my stream gets and the more growth that I find, the more freedom I have to do variety. Now, I could stop right now and just do variety every day, and I'd be a pretty successful streamer. Probably sitting at 150, 200 viewers for whatever I play. I had 250 viewers for Ocarina. I called myself successful for the first time since my partnership when I played Ocarina this past year. Because this year. And why? Because for the first time in my freaking stream career, I was able to bring 250 people to watch me play Zelda. I could start crying right now thinking about it. And it took me 3 fucking years to get there. I laid in my bed after the first Zelda stream and just basically started crying. I was like, dude, I did it. I'm here. But I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna just go, okay, variety all the time, see you later. Because I'm still growing. I still have a mission and a journey. And I wanna be an 1,000 viewer Andy. I wanna be up there. And because of that need to continue to grow, I can't just walk away. And as I just said, truthfully, I never will. I'm never going to walk away from AC. I'm never going to walk away from Stardew. But speaking to my core audience here and speaking to anybody out there who's looking to grow, this is a Q&A about streamers as well as me. You got to respect the grind. And that's the point. Respect the freaking grind. The bigger you get, the more success you find, the more freedom you have to do more as a content creator. But as you are trying to grow, you need to stick to your guns and you need to be consistent. And that is what you need to take away from that. I hope that was a good answer, Neanderthal. I know that was a lot, but I wanted to give you it all, man. It is a struggle, dude. It's tough. It is tough, but you can get there. And I believe that the bigger I get, the more freedom I will have to do more and more and more of what I want. But I personally don't plan to walk away from AC ever, but the future's unwritten, right? So let me scroll up. I went pretty far into that one. So let me scroll up. Let me see if I missed any good questions up here. That was a long one. That was a long one for sure. All right. What would you say to the people who told you to get a new hobby? What do you mean, Ambular? Like, would you like to rephrase that for me, Ambular? Would you like to rephrase that for me? I think I understand your question, but if you wouldn't mind rephrasing that for me. Do you think working full-time and streaming will be stressful? Yes. I worked full-time and streamed, and it was very stressful. It was very tough. Yes. Because you have to kind of put everything you have into streaming. Just the mental strain of streaming alone can be a lot. And people don't identify that. Talking all day, interacting with humans all day, then going to work and doing that, and doing a good job at work. I'll tell you, when I first started streaming, within weeks, my work ethic was so bad at work. I was sitting around at work like, oh, I don't want to be here. That's tough. That's tough. Very, very tough. Mm. Let me see. Are your friends' family supportive of streaming full time? Now they are. When I first went to go stream, a lot of people were kind of like, meh, what do you think you're doing, dude? You should continue back in school. Like, don't take off of school for this. And they were all right. I mean, I certainly was taking a risk putting education aside for this. But the friends that are in my life are all very supportive. They're all like, holy heck, dude, you're doing it, man. Keep on it, man. Very supportive. My roommate supports me to a T. I mean, this dude helped me find a home in a situation where I was struggling because I hadn't streamed long enough to call it a real job, and people didn't want to give me a house. I literally couldn't find somewhere to rent just 2 years ago. Could not find a single place to rent because they were all like, that's not a job. And his dad and him helped me. They even looked for places with good internet. They literally helped me continue my journey. I've gotten more support like in these past couple years for this journey than I ever could have imagined. And I'm very blessed. Very, very blessed. And sometimes it's just like, hey, good job, keep on keeping on. And sometimes it's like I said, like this literal physical help. This dude's dad knew that I was struggling. He knew his son was struggling. His son was having the same problem. And he was like, let's help him out. Crazy, crazy. Was it hard for you to listen and watch yourself as a streamer when you first started? Yeah, and it still is a little bit, but I can't stress enough how important it is to watch your own tape. Watch your own tape. Streamers, sit down once a week and watch your own tape. You should not be cringing at your own tape. A lot of people don't like that. A lot of people, oh, I can't watch myself, I cringe. No, if you're not entertaining yourself, if you're not your number one fan, how do you expect other people to like your content? You should be your number one fan. You should be able to sit down and watch your own tape and laugh. You want to know how I've been doing that since the beginning. Sometimes I'd be like, okay, shut up. Sometimes I'd be like, dude, that was good, right? Regardless, you have to be able to sit down and enjoy your own tape. You have to. I've been doing that since I started streaming. It's probably one of the biggest practices that I did that I didn't realize that I was doing that was helping me. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize it. I was just doing it because I thought it was the right thing to do. But then I realized during this journey that one of the most beneficial things you can do is watch your own tape. It helps you not only identify if the sound quality is good, it's something that you can enjoy. You know, again, it also, you should be your own biggest fan. And I do truly believe that. I heard that from somewhere else, but I believe it. I believe that. So that's a good one. That's a fun one. I'm still catching up with questions here. We're getting there. We're getting there. How did you come up with your name? Ooh, Mama Squirrel, what's up? How did you come up with your name? Ooh, I got a good one for that. Thank you, Lizzie J, for the kind words. Hold on, I need to hydrate. I'm a new streamer. I'm trying to make affiliate. I want to do a special 6-hour stream since I haven't streamed that long yet and do a follow-a-thon type of thing. But what can I do to engage with people to make it special? I don't have a capture card, so I'm limited. So I think as a small streamer, as an affiliate. All right, so I'm going to assume with this question, you already have a bit of an established community and you are probably going to have a couple people there already interacting with you. I'm just going to assume that that's the case. You said you're an affiliate. You probably have a couple people looking out for you. That's what I used to call it, looking out for you. So I say the biggest thing you could do for engagement, like first off, I mean, you could go in the direction of like every follow triggers an event on stream. You could do like game giveaways from like Humble Bundle. You could maybe look into some Twitch extensions that interact with certain games. Like there's the one where people can use channel points and they can make your game do stuff. Can't remember the name of it, with Breath of the Wild and Minecraft and Link to the Past. That's a tough one though. I think when it comes to viewer engagement and trying to get people to engage with your content, I think that really good advertisement actually helps. If you have social media, get out there and let people know that you're doing fun stuff ahead of time and stick to it, right? I would even maybe say like, yeah, crowd control. Thank you. Like having goals on the screen and stuff really does help. Goals that people can engage with visually really do help. You know, let people know. Don't be afraid to kind of advertise the stuff that you're doing. I used to literally run adverts in between of flying to one location to the next in Zelda. Literally, I would be flying from one location to the next in Breath of the Wild. And during that, I would pop up a screen with a literal advert. And it was like, so by the way, everybody, I'm doing this special thing this week, right? That kind of stuff really adds up. I think proper, hopefully you can get out there and try to let people know that you're doing this fun thing and try to hopefully garner some support around it. Viewer engagement's a tough one though. Specifically getting people to engage with like an event or something as a small community, right? I think offering giveaways and stuff is not the worst direction to go. And I did a lot of that as a smaller streamer. Prince Bo. I used to watch this dude and he did giveaways like every hour on the hour. People love giveaways. People love stuff. And you know, even though it kind of feels like maybe those people are only there for the giveaways, sometimes that's better than nothing. And sometimes maybe that's a good place to start, right? Is like try to pull people in through clickbaity giveaway stuff and then hopefully try to keep them there through engagement, through chat engagement, through good gameplay or gameplay engagement, or playing games that people can engage with, like Jackbox and Mario Kart and all that stuff, right? You know, again, this is assuming you have people that are maybe already looking out for you, right? That's a tough one though. That's a tough one. Garnering engagement can be tough because like I've always had kind of a lurker community, so I didn't even have a ton of that early on, right? All right, let me keep going here. I'm trying to catch up on my questions here. It's frustrating, right, Dazabound? Oh. Got me to buy my first Pokemon game. What's up, Quake? Good to see you, Quake. I know I'm not saying hi to everybody. Let's take a moment to say welcome in. Welcome in Radiant Sword and Raiders. I'm assuming we got a shout out for him. Feel free to hit him with it if you haven't. Quake, it's good to see you here, buddy. I think you're always going to have a set of core followers and then floaters. Exactly. We did talk about that. Exactly. My problem is trying to watch a bunch of streamers at once. I don't want to let anyone down. Aw, Ambular. I think a lot of us deal with that as viewers. I completely understand that. And, you know, it's a little bit cheesy, but the truth is don't ever put that pressure on yourself as a viewer. Don't ever put that pressure on yourself as a viewer. Remember that it is not your job to be watching that stream, that you are not expected to be there. And if a streamer ever makes you feel like you're expected to be there, I don't know if that's the kind of stream I want to be a part of. And I think most streamers know this, right? A lot of streamers understand that people are going to live their life. They're going to go watch other streams. They're going to go hang out and do other things. And I think that most streamers are going to be accepting of that. And I wouldn't wish that kind of guilt on my worst enemy, let alone a viewer. So try to keep that in mind. I know that wasn't a question, but try to keep in mind, you know, try to avoid that kind of pressure. Social media pressure like that is so gross. Like, try as hard as you can not to do that to yourself. Let yourself be free. Consume content freely. Consume content the way that you want to consume it. If you're in the mood for something different, go watch something different. That's okay. Don't do your best not to let yourself fall into that, because it's just not fair to anyone. Not fair to anyone. It's a win-win. Animal Crossers get introduced to new games. Variety peeps get introduced to cozy farming games. Want to do variety, you're bringing in new faces. Right. I think it is a balance. It is a balance. You either have to be a good salesman or actually enjoy what you're doing. Yes. Yes. I mean, that's a good note right there. I mean, that's a really good note to just touch on real quick as I scroll through the chat. Authenticity is huge. Being passionate about what you're doing is absolutely huge. I can't stress that enough. I think the biggest thing I have going for me is my passion for life, my passion for video games. It bleeds into my content and people love it, right? But the truth is I don't think I do a lot of I don't think I offer a ton more than your average human. I'm just very, very passionate, and it bleeds into my content and people love it. People love the passion. They love the authenticity, right? I think every human relates to that more than watching someone, fake it till they make it. That's just never fun, right? As a streamer, I can't seem to stick to one game. So what do you think that would be a stream killer? No. I think that you should stick to a genre maybe though, or a vibe. All right, so here you go, Mishikins. I got a good answer for you. Ooh, that's a good question. There are different ways to provide consistency outside of the game that you are playing. It could be the vibe. Yo, can I get a show of hands in the chat of how many people enjoy Windows 96 because of me? How many people know my stream for this music right here? You have to understand something about my stream. No matter what I was playing, no matter what game I was playing, every single day that I showed up to stream, I'm talking probably 2 years of my show, I played this musical artist right here. Here it is. And this is the vibe that people knew me for. It was so much more than just Animal Crossing. It was an energy, it was a vibe. Remember that people attach to more than just the game. I only play this one on Mondays nowadays. I keep Windows to Mondays nowadays. That's funny. That's what it is, right? So, when you're asking yourself, how can I do this without wanting to be attached to one single game? You could be a Nintendo streamer. You could be a cozy streamer. You could be an FPS only streamer. You could be it could be your vibes, your energy, the way you present yourself. You could present yourself calmly every day and welcome to my show. You could present yourself erratic and crazy and energetic. No matter what you're doing, you can find consistency outside of the game you're playing. Yes, the game is important, and yes, the game or the style of content, cooking, crafting, is important. Dude, there's this person named Wood Pixel. Is that their name, Dazabound? Dude, I just saw the other day they had 80 viewers or something as a crafting streamer, as an artist streamer. I'm not gonna lie to you, I have never seen anybody grow within art on this platform. But they did, and you know what? They've probably been doing it for months. For months. This person started streaming like 2 years ago. They showed up in my chat and they're like, all right, I'm gonna do art streams. And I thought to myself, frick, that's a hard grind. I wouldn't be surprised if they got their partnership. I don't even think they play games. I think they only do art. Maybe they play games sometimes, I'm assuming. But the point is that it's so much more than just the content you're producing. It's your energy, your vibe, the music, something. You can provide consistency outside of the game or the style of content. It is a little bit of the hard road, Mishikins. I'm going to be honest with you. You're choosing the hard road. Being a variety caster, you are choosing the hard road. But let me tell you, what fun is it trekking the easy road? Literally choosing to be a streamer in life was the hard road. Who cares? Own it and make it happen. Do your thing. If you think you can make it happen, if you're confident in yourself, you're passionate about what you're playing, I think that stuff is so much more important than the game, right? I think so anyways. Okay, good question. Good question. Proud of your success. Thank you guys. Yeah, I got a little teary-eyed there, but sometimes these topics get me. If you go back and give 13-year-old Joshua some advice, what would you tell him? To pursue whatever he was passionate about. Very young in my life, I got told that my dreams were stupid.
2001.
Like, I wanted to be an astrologist. They were like, oh, that's a shop class. You should probably find a real job. I was like, okay, I guess you're right. You're the adult. Then I was like, I want to be a philosopher and get a PhD and teach philosophy. Oh, that's a shop class. You're an idiot. You should probably get a real job. And stupid young me believed it. Oh, okay, all right. I guess I shouldn't pursue these things I really like. And I just fell into a sea of stupid ideas and jobs that were all meaningless that I hated until I turned 30 and decided to stream. If I could give young me one piece of advice, it would be stop listening to other people and just live your gosh dang life, dude. Do whatever you are passionate about. And it usually works out in the end. I think it usually works out in the end. That'd be the biggest piece of advice. Oh, thank you, Cozy Korak. What's up, dude? Thank you so much. What would you say to the people who say video game is not a good hobby? Learn an instrument, learn cooking are acceptable hobbies. What would you say to those people? I tell them to go off. No, I'm kidding. In some ways, I understand those conversations because like video gaming in a lot of ways is more of an entertainment thing, right? And what they're trying to tell you at that in life is like if you pursue something like cooking or if you pursue something, you know, like instrument, you could maybe do more of that, right? Maybe years ago that was like a legit way to think. Should you be focusing on entertainment as a hobby when you could maybe be focusing on a hobby that could like do more for you? But even back then, I'd say screw that, right? Because if it makes you happy, if it's something you're passionate about, you know, what do you think they told the original creator of Zelda when he was a kid? You don't think the people told him that? Oh, get off those video games, you idiot. All of a sudden, this dude's programming the best games of all time. Right? So if you put into perspective, how many of the greats out there were probably told to stop? But they took their passion for gaming and they turned it into something else. And you can kind of do that with anything in life. You start to realize as you get older that if you're passionate enough about anything, you can do anything you want. Dude. Screw that. I ain't no one limiting me. So I think that that's an old way to think, and I think nowadays it's more apparent than ever that gaming is very acceptable. Shoot, if I had a kid and they were super good at Fortnite, I'd be like, yo, keep at it, son, and win me $1 million, baby. You about to be a superstar, right? Like, yeah, jokes aside, like society's so different nowadays that it's like, that's just all garbage nowadays. But I think in the past, maybe it made more sense where gaming was just looked at as a purely entertainment. But I mean, like, let's replace video game with book. I bet you there's a lot of people who get told throughout their life to stop reading so much. Oh, you're always buried in a book. You should probably pick up a more useful hobby. I almost guarantee you people have heard that. And what a stupid thing to say. But reading is one of the healthiest things you could do to help you grow, to help your brain expand. But I guarantee you people have been told that. Book lovers. When you could take reading and you could turn it into writing, you could turn it into short stories, you could be writing commercials you could be writing movie scripts. Oh, you better put that book down and do something real. see what I mean? So like, even if you just replace video game, people, this has been going on forever. And I think at the end of the day, you really got to just let people tell you stuff, and you got to live in your own bubble, right? You got to put your own little bubble, you know. A better way to word that is, do not let people's perceptions of you or projections, or let people project on you what they think life is about. Because as you get a little older, and I don't know how old you are, Ambular, that's fine. I'm sure you're somewhere around my age. I'm not that old. But I feel like as I've gotten older in life, I've realized more and more that life is what you want it to be. It doesn't matter. Like, none of that matters. And all that people are doing is projecting on you. Now, you know, you could argue that parents usually have your best interest. Like, usually if a parent's saying, hey, you should probably not game as much, you should focus on other things, it's because they're maybe worried that you fall into some of the traps in life. Because everything should be within moderation. And, you know, maybe if you're just sitting there mindlessly gaming all day, every day, instead of pursuing something maybe like music or cooking, you know, maybe there is an argument for that's not the healthiest thing. But I think at the end of the day, in most of these situations, it's people projecting on you, and you got to learn in life to stop. Don't let people do that to you. At some point in life, you got to sit down and you got to accept that. You got to be like, no, I'm done. I'm going to live my life to the fullest. I have lived the loosest, goosiest life ever, and I somehow led myself to this beautiful dream. And now I'm probably considered one of the most lucky humans on the planet. I get to stream for a living. But up until this point, people probably thought I was just the biggest, dumbest loser who was going to amount to nothing. Probably still feel that way. Guarantee there's still people that are probably like, look at this dumb baby. But it's like, you know, at a certain point I stopped, and I was blessed enough, young enough to be like, screw you, I'm gonna do me. Screw you, I'm gonna do me. And I just kept, screw you, I'm gonna do me. And eventually I did me to the point to where I pursued a dream of mine my whole life. So yeah, to answer your question, it's tough. That's a tough one, right? And I think that really what you're asking isn't necessarily about video games. Because I think we could break away from that, and we could really sit down and say, in all reality, that's just an everyday thing. We deal with people projecting on us always. And at a certain point in life, you have to stop letting that happen. And you have to just decide for yourself who you are as a person. Because none of those people that told you not to do those things are going to be there for you in the long run. When you're miserable at 40 years old, you know, working a job that you completely hate, where are those people then? Oh, you should have got an instrument. Yeah, where are you at now? Right? Those people don't care. They're never going to care. And they're literally just projecting on you. When you could be pursuing things you love and you're passionate about, and your dreams, right? Like, at a certain point, you gotta just step away from it all. And it's easier said than done, but like, I don't know. I think I was blessed to learn that pretty early. That I was just like, yeah, people have no idea what they're talking about. Screw all these humans. I was out. All right, so Mama Squirrel, my story for my name. Hylian descent was, I have a simple story here. I'll break it down quick. So I grew up and my original name was Zelda Master 78. All right, Zelda Master 78. I'm the Zelda Master. And my buddy discovered his own name. He was Hellish Company. And it was sick, dude. Hellish Company. He was the only Hellish Company on the internet. It was amazing. I was like, dude, that is so cool. Hellish Company. We're like 14 years old, 13 years old. And I'm like, dude, I need a name that is only mine. So I sat there. Why 78? This is my favorite number. Always has been. So I sat there and racked my brain, and I came up with a name called Hyrulean Descent. Hyrulean Descent. Because one day I woke up and I was like, you know what? I'm Link. And my friend's like, what? And I'm like, I'm Link. I'm the next in line for the Master Sword. I am Link's descendant. And I used to joke about it all the time. I'm like, I'm the most OG Zelda fan of all time. And And this is me. This is who I am. I'm a descendant of Link. I'm gonna be the next up. Watch. I got the courage piece right here. Watch, right? And I decided Hyrulean descent was gonna be like my thing. And then I tweaked it over time to Hylian descent because I found out that like Hyruleans wasn't necessarily the right word. There was like the Hyrulean guards, but a person from the world of Hyrule was Hylian, the Hylian people, and then I changed it to Hylian descent. Yeah, you could find it. Some of my old accounts I still use. Like I'm still Zelda Master 78 on Animal Crossing Community. I'm still Zelda Master 78 on Animal Crossing Community, ACC. There's a couple websites that I never changed the name for, but I changed most of them. All right, let me scroll up. Let me answer some more good questions here. That kind of sucks, Birdie Machine. That's rough, dude. I just read the message about the unsubscription. That sucks, dude. I hope you're doing well, Birdie. Good to see you. Oh, thank you so much, Collector Addict, for the lurk, baby. I was thinking about doing a raffle. Everyone that follows or is a follower gets entered into the raffle, and I draw one ticket every hour. I think that's a good thing. That's a good place to start. Yeah, Prince Bo, thank you. I'm getting back to your question. I think that would be a good place to start with some viewer engagement, right? I will say, don't let people walk on you as a streamer. Welcome in light codes. Yeah, don't lose your authenticity and don't let people walk on you. Let me give you a quick story. Of a person I saw literally get pressured into doing something really bad. So this guy was a small streamer. In fact, he started streaming way before me, and we were friends at one point. We aren't quite as much anymore. We had a falling out. So this guy was streaming on Twitch, and he did this giveaway. I'm talking, this guy was like a 0 to 3 viewer Andy. This guy. Yeah, and I say that it's just the word Andy. We just use that here. But he was a very small streamer, and he was trying his heart out for years, and he just couldn't go. He wouldn't go anywhere. And one of the reasons we had a falling out was because within a year, I got a partnership, and he streamed for 2.5, 3 years and had no more than 5 viewers. And he got so upset and so pissed off about that he said some nasty things to me, and I cut him off. But I digress. Without going into that, he clearly it didn't work, right? Maybe one day we'll reconnect. But so I'm watching him stream to his like 3-5 people, you know, if he was on a good day. And he decides to do a giveaway for $20 PayPal, $20 of PayPal cash. He's like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this giveaway. And during the stream, he's like drinking a little bit, just a little bit. He was just a drinker. And he's like, all right, you know, we're going to do the giveaway in the future. He was like, you know, today you're entering the giveaway and we'll do the giveaway a day from now. And a bunch of people started showing up in his chat, and I instantly was like, this is not good. What is happening? And they were like, you should do it now. And he was like, I don't know. And they were like, do it now. And he's like, all right, fine. I'll give away the $20 right now. He goes, he activates the giveaway. Some random Joe Schmo that had never supported him ever won the $20, right? Guess what we found out later? It was one dude who showed up in his chat with 25 bots. One dude showed up with his chat with 25 different bots, all him. Got the $20 left, never came back. So it's just a little mini story to tell. Don't ever let anybody walk on you. Don't ever do something that you're not comfortable with. If you don't think somebody should win it, then give it to someone else. I don't care if you think that that's shitty. I've given away Switches on this channel, and you better freaking believe if I clicked that giveaway button and it went to some Joe Schmo, I was literally clicking the raffle button. You're out of your mind if I'm letting some Joe Schmo show up and win my Nintendo Switch when I have viewers that have watched me for 2 years. You are out of your gourd. No way. Now, I've been blessed to not have to rig many, if at all, raffles. But you better believe I would have rigged it. I remember I was talking to my best friend about it when I was doing it. I was like, dude, I'm rigging this if this doesn't go to the right person. Good thing it went to Tales from the Fandom. I was like, cool. I'm not playing that game. Don't you ever do something that you are uncomfortable with. Peer pressure. Next, dude, next. And I don't care if you think that that's like a lack of integrity or something. You better believe I always try to be the most fair person I can. But when we're talking hundreds of dollars, I'm not gonna let some dude with 100 bots come into my chat and take something away from the community who earned it. People who have been supporting me for years. It is what it is, what it will be. So, you can take from that what you will. But you can't go through and do that kind of stuff. This is why I deeply appreciate the way you handle island visits, right? Because I'll always try to be fair, especially when it doesn't come to money. No, I did not rig. Dude, Daz Abound, I feel like that you could have thought that I rigged. I thought about that. I was like, I bet you Dazza thinks that I threw him in here. No, dude, you actually won that. Shut your mouth. No, that was so funny because I remember literally thinking to myself, there's got to be somebody in the chat who thinks that I rigged this today. I literally thought to myself, somebody probably thinks I rigged this for Dazza. I mean, if I was going to rig it for anybody, I was going to rig it for my boy, But no, you won. You actually won fair and square. Is it kosher to do sub-only giveaways then? Yes. Yes. Oh yeah, super, super kosher to do sub-only giveaways, right? And this dude that did this giveaway and the $20 went to a bot and stuff, he was just so new, he didn't really fully know what he was doing. And that's my point. As a smaller streamer, do not let people pressure you into anything. If you are all uncomfortable, just don't do it. Please. Just don't do it. Just do not let that happen to you. Because when I saw it happen, he was disappointed, I was disappointed, and it just was so icky, So I think, sub-only giveaways, we've limited a giveaway once to 3 months only subs or further along. So like one time we did a giveaway where we said you had to have been subbed to my channel for at least 3 months, even if it was gifted subs, or you couldn't win this. And that was fair to me. That means you had been at least watching me for about 3 months. You had been in and out of my community for about 3 months. That was a fair thing to me, right? So don't be afraid to do that kind of stuff, right? I think that's completely healthy. That's completely fair. So a lot of small streamers will put up with a lot that they shouldn't just because they're worried people will leave, right? And that's kind of the point I'm making. Thank you. Yes, well said. But yeah, I'm not out here rigging every raffle, chat. I'm just being 100% honest that I would rig a raffle if it was the difference between a Britty machine winning something and somebody who didn't even hit the follow button but 2 days ago. Like, I'm sorry, but like $300 is a lot of money. Now, am I going to sit here and rig every day? No, why would I care? You come and win a game. I'm a pretty honest dude. Come and win a game. I don't care. Win some games, win some cool stuff, win some merchandise. All that stuff is fine. I gotta move this text. You know what I mean? Like, all that stuff is fine, right? I was specifically worried about the switches.
Also, hi.
Yeah, hey, what's up, Ryan? You know what I mean? Like, I specifically only ever worried about this stuff when I was doing big giveaways. Yeah, follow age requirements, right. So it's just a lesson to let you know that, like, no matter your integrity, no matter if you think all of a sudden people are going to think you're some kind of liar or something, don't ever be pressured into anything. And that's the reason why I told that story. Even if it came down to people like, oh, well, this dude, I'm never going to enter another raffle here. Bye. You know what I mean? Like, who cares, right? Like, at the end of the day, what's more important is that you are comfortable with what's happening in your own stream. If this is your show, do not let anybody pressure you into anything. And that's the point, Now, that's exactly what I want you to take away from. All right. We're doing pretty good about catching up with questions, but let's keep going here. Have you made any real good friends from streaming that you stay in touch with outside of Twitch? Yes. Molded Sandwich, one of my best friends of all time. I love that dude. Sincerely, I'd give him a big old kiss on his lips if he was here right now. Smackaroo right on his lips. I consider Dazabound an out of Twitch friend. We catch up in DMs when we can. I'd love to meet him someday. There's a couple of y'all. There's a couple of y'all that I've definitely tried to stay connected with as much as I can. It's hard. I'm a very standoffish human. It's extra hard for me. But I think in the end, I've made some quality friendships and relationships out of it. I'm on the dinner list, dude. The dinner list, man. I got to dig it up and list all the names off of people. There's about 40 or something on it, 50. What's any unspoken rules a Twitch streamer should never break? Unspoken rules that Twitch streamers should never break. I think the big obvious one is never going through your viewer list and calling people out. Don't ever do that. Even if you're a small streamer and you're just like salivating for a person to interact with, don't do that. If they do not jump in your chat and say hello, rarely should you ever say anything to them. Now, we can go further and we can talk about followers, right? Some people leave followers anonymously. Some people will talk about followers. I do both. Sometimes when I get a follow, I say welcome in. Sometimes when I get a follow, I'll be like, hey, what's up, Pikachu? How are you today? Right? But honestly, that's a preference. That's a preference thing. And I think that you could honestly go both ways with it. But don't you ever dare go into your user list and just start calling people out. That's mega tab. Mega tab. No, these questions aren't anywhere but in the chat, and I'll probably just highlight this video and we can transfer it over to YouTube if you guys want. We can do that. We could do that. Yeah. We'll just highlight this segment for you guys. 100%. I'll highlight it right after this joke. What would you do? Oh, before I read that, let me make sure I didn't miss too much. Okay, cool. This is the next question. What would you do if you had to choose to stream a game you want to stream, but chat wants something different? Ooh, good question to humans. So this makes me think of my old school Venn diagram. All right, so think about streaming. Streaming is a Venn diagram. All right, so let's go ahead and pull up the old trusty paint. Okay. All right. Streaming is a Venn diagram. Okay. So you have, we already suck. Can I get? You have this side and you have this side. All right. Now, what do you have inside of these? So this is what viewers want, what you want. Pretty straightforward stuff. And it's clear as day if you haven't already pulled this together. This is what you want. This is the juicy. This is what we all hope for. But at the end of the day, a lot of streaming is balancing what viewers want versus what you want. So when you ask the question, what do you do when you want to stream a game that your viewers don't want to see? Sometimes you have to look over here and say, okay, does this work? Is this something that I can fit into my stream? Sometimes the answer is going to be no. The answer is going to be, this is probably something I shouldn't do. Maybe I should consider it for a different time slot for a variety segment. This is clearly a very important thing. Both sides of this Venn diagram are very important. And you have to acknowledge both at some point in your journey. You have to give yourself a little treat, a little nugget. Play what you want sometimes. And very often you're going to be playing what the viewers want. But your goal is to find stuff that fits in the juicy center. But you'll notice something about my lopsided diagram. The center is very small now, isn't it? There's not a lot that's going to fit in the middle. Rarely are you going to find stuff that fits in the middle. And if you're lucky enough, you'll find more than maybe your average stream, right? Right? If you're lucky enough, you'll find something that you're super, super passionate about that the viewers also want to watch. And you win. You win that day. You win that for that gameplay. You win for that game. But, you know, over time, this is going to adjust. Over time, maybe your passion for Animal Crossing dwindles and you're like, dude, I can't handle this anymore. So, and you're not willing to get creative. You're not willing to try to stretch the content into different directions, right? And you're just like, I can't do this. Well, you're not going to want to force something. You don't want to force the content. That's the worst thing you can do. So then you might want to take a step over here. Take another look at what you want and maybe see if one of the things you want falls into this juicy center. That's how I first discovered Stardew Valley. I was playing Animal Crossing. I'm doing City Folk, Wild World, GameCube. And all of a sudden I was like, dude, there's gotta be something else I could do. Stardew Valley clicked in my brain. I was like, this could work. This could work. I could very well do this as well. I think people would like this. And it ended up being one of my channel's biggest games. Still to this day, Stardew Valley is my second highest ever viewership game. Probably always will be at this point. So there you go. Yes, dude, I'm just catching up on the comments while I look for my next question. I love you guys. All your dreams, fam. I love this. So much good energy in this chat right now. I love you guys. Dude, this is great. All right, we'll start. What time is it? It's been 7 hours. We've been doing this for 2 hours. All right, we'll start getting final questions in. We'll start taking final questions here, and I'm gonna be picky. I'm not gonna read every question from here. I've been reading every single question. We're gonna start doing a final session here. So what this means is, if you have a question you haven't asked or you want answered, start dropping them, and I'll pick a couple from here, and we can start doing a tiny little bit of a wrap up, and then we can decide if we want to do something different today. So. Let's see here. Yeah, we are going to post this. I can post this on YouTube if you guys want. I don't really have a problem with that. And we're already going to post the other seminar on YouTube. Why not at this point, right? Why not at all? And sorry if I missed a question. I don't think I've missed too many, but I'm still scrolling through chat. Steph L says, you talked about music earlier. What's your favorite style of genre that you would like to review? So I'm a big music buff. I'm a super big music buff, and it's hard for me to answer what my favorite genre is overall. I have an answer, but I want to make a note and say that, honestly, my favorite music changes throughout the weeks. I just love music, musicianship, writing, lyrics, all of it. But to answer your question, I grew up on hip hop, and not just your everyday hip hop, even though back then it was a lot of the stuff that was on MTV. I slowly evolved into what was called underground or indie hip hop. Eventually that turned into what I call traditional style hip hop. I've labeled this myself. Traditional style hip hop is hip hop that still follows the guidelines of the greats from the golden era. It still follows the traditions of break beats, of sampling, of the art of rhyming and freestyling. Traditional style hip hop. And again, we ain't talking the radio, because it's so far from that, I couldn't even begin that discussion. So that's my favorite genre, traditional style hip hop. But, you know, I like I said, I'm very, very into music, and I could go on and on and on and on and on about music, dude. I'm a big music buff. So, all right, let me see. Have you rigged the channel point raffle recently? Can you spot bots? Occasionally. The bots are getting super intelligent nowadays, but occasionally. You ever make it to Texas? Texas will cook you up some awesome ribs and brisket, dude. Oh man, I'll be over at 8. Oh, so to add to the question, what's another taboo, unwritten thing that you should never do as a streamer? is show up in another chat and promote. That was really good. Dazabound. Start drama. I love that one. And the third one that I read in the chat that I think is huge, talk down on other content creators. Everybody does Twitch differently. And don't you dare catch yourself talking down on a content creator. That's just so taboo. Even if you don't agree with their style of content, even if you don't agree with something they do, you should really, really, really avoid that. I think that that's just such a toxic environment. I like all of that. The chat said all of that. That wasn't even me. The chat said all of those, and that's beautiful answers to that. Beautiful answers. What's up, Nazar? Glad you're still with us, baby. I'm hoping for more Shrek content. Get out of here. How the TF are you doing today? I'm doing pretty good. I got dry mouth from all this talking, but I'm doing very good today. A little tired today, but I'm all right. Do you think streaming VTuber style affects viewership? Yeah, I do actually. I have a very solid answer to this, and I thought about this a lot. I think that there's a certain bar that has been set for streaming. And if you don't respect that bar, you are in fact taking the hard road. I'm not saying you can't be successful as a VTuber. I'm not saying you can't be successful as a no-cam streamer, okay? All I'm saying is that there's a bar, and that bar has been set. And your average viewer is looking to interact with a human being. And when you're not a human being and you don't give someone something to look at and interact with, you are taking the hard road. And if you don't accept that going into VTubing and or no cam streaming, I think you're being ignorant. Again, I'm not saying you can't find success. I'm not saying that there's not people out there that will come and love your show. Again, VTubing is becoming way more common and way more accepted. Same thing with no cam. And that's a beautiful thing. I'm glad to see the space starting to be more accepted. But the truth is, if you don't follow the guidelines, the bar that has been set in content creation for years now, you are taking the hard road. And you just better mentally prepare for the hard road. I took the hard road in life, let alone, my point is that the hard road can be good sometimes. Streaming in general is a hard road, right? It's hard to get into content creation. So it's not a bad thing to take the hard road. One day somebody made a joke in my chat and they were like, cameras are just a crutch. And at first I was like, haha, funny. And then I was like, wait a second. It kind of is. It kind of is. Because if you can't entertain someone without a camera, a lot of times there might be a problem already, which is kind of funny to think about. It's kind of funny to think about how many streamers actually kind of are successful just for having their face on the screen, because it's easy for people to relate to, but they're not entertaining at all. In fact, they might not even be that quality of content creators. So even though you might be taking the hard road, own it and entertain people without a camera and do it well. Not too long ago, I had a stream. I'm gonna tell a story here, all right? I had a stream. 3 streams in a row where my camera wasn't working. My camera was busted, and I had to do 3 streams in a row. This was in my first year of streaming, 6 months in. I had to do 3 streams in a row that were only radio vibes. And I was like kind of upset about it. So what did I do? I owned it. I did content based off of no camera and tried to keep people engaged without my camera, right? Still to this day, I have viewers that found me during that stream that stuck with me. They were like, dude, I found you during those 3 days where you did radio streams and I fell in freaking love with your content. Didn't even know it was an option to have a camera. And I was like, oh, right? And that opened up my eyes to the idea that it doesn't necessarily like that is not going to be the thing that makes you be successful. Does this make sense? No cam, VTube, those things aren't going to set the difference between a successful version of you and a non-successful version of you within the content creation universe. You want to know what sets you apart is your freaking content. Stop focusing on shit that doesn't matter. Make good content. Entertain people. Because if you think that a camera is going to be the difference in your success, you've already lost the plot, my dude or dude. You've already lost the plot. That's so far beyond the point of content creation. It's not going to make the difference. It could very well be the hard road. If you, a non-cam streamer, were put up next to a streamer who had a cam and you made the exact same content, the ugly truth is the person with the camera might get a leg up in the race.
Always love your Q&As. You're very down to earth and honest. Only up from here.
Oh, thank you, Ambu. Thank you. Does that make sense? Yes, there's a world where if you're put up against the same exact version of you, one with a cam and one with not, I wouldn't be surprised if the majority of the time the person with the cam just finds more success naturally. It's more clickable. There's a lot of people who just don't even like VTubes. It's still not fully accepted. But at the end of the day, that it's not gonna make or break your content. And that's the point. It's not gonna make or break your content. You and your content is gonna make or break your content. Kind of a stupid way to word that, but I think you're fine. I think you understand what I'm saying. I hope. Oh. Question, why do you dislike Shrek?
What are you doing in my swamp?
I like watching streamers smack down chatters that try to spread drama. That was actually my first interaction with Barb Crossing, and I fell in love with Barb Crossing because of that exact thing. He was like, get out of here. Just talk about me. Don't talk about anybody else. I was like, dude, I love this guy. You know, he might be rough on the outside and stuff, but that dude knows what he's doing. Yeah. Oh, did I say Barb Crossing? Sorry, Barbarous King. Sorry. If you want to know the truth, I don't like Shrek because I don't like the song. It's All Stars' fault. If you want the truth, I don't really have a problem with the first two Shrek movies. I watched a lot of them with my sister. The thing about Shrek that I truly don't like, I'll be 100% transparent here, is that stupid Smash Mouth All Stars song. It was played too much as a child. I have certain songs, there's about 40, 50 songs that I just cannot tolerate anymore. Because I had to work in retail, I had to work in kitchens where there was a radio playing 24/7. And when you've heard the same 3 Offspring songs for 50 years of your life, I'm not even 50 years old. It's a nightmare. I can't stand it. I hate the top Billboard. I hate the fact that the radio plays the same 30 songs all day on loop. And let me tell you, All Star was one of them. And it broke me down. I got sick. And I will never recover. I can't handle it. I can't. I'll never like that song, and therefore Shrek has been tainted perpetually. It's tainted. I'm never going back. Well, like I said, I could watch Shrek. I'll be honest. I could probably sit down and watch the first 2 movies, and like I wouldn't like really care. It would just be like, oh, cool. It'd be nostalgic to some extent, right? There's the transparent answer. Now, don't you ever clip that, and don't you ever take that anywhere outside of this stream here, or I'm not going to be happy. Yo, what's up, LB? How do you deal with low motivation and burnout from content creation? Okay, I've seen this question twice. Let's sit down and answer this one. Like I said, now I'm kind of picking through answers, few questions, because we've been here for a while. How do I deal with low motivation and how do I deal with burnout? So first off, I have always felt like I've been the least most motivated human in existence. I toss my motivation out to sea and I just hope it comes back sometimes. I can't handle I'm not good with motivation. I'm very not motivated the majority of the time to even exist, let alone to do content creation. I, however, do have two modes. I'm either go, 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 go on an unhealthy level, or I'm no, 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 no on an unhealthy level. And this has been a problem for a long time. It's been a very big problem for me through a lot of my content creation journey. How do I, it's tough. I'm either hitting it so hard that, I'm being unhealthy or I'm so unmotivated that I sit there for days just stagnant, right? And a lot of times the way I deal with it is like an answer that I would give about like a depression conversation. And that's my tools. Music has been a tool that has driven me throughout my life. I throw on some music that uplifts me. Throw on some music that reminds me to get up and grind, baby. And hip hop has always been good for that because hip hop was made out of the struggle. The birth of hip hop was through the struggle. And a lot of hip hop is about getting up and getting out of the struggle. And that is one of the reasons why I have a big affinity with hip hop. Because a lot of times that's what it takes for me to get up is to go throw on some music and remind myself, time to grind, let's go, right? Another tool for me would be writing. Sometimes writing my thoughts out just puts things into perspective. Another thing that I use with low motivation is, and I don't know if this is healthy, but I'm going to be honest. Sometimes I just let myself be low. I just let myself ride it out. Sometimes I just let myself be low for a couple days. No motivation. I'll just let myself sit there for a week sometimes and do absolutely nothing. The biggest blob. And then I get it out of my system and then I work myself back up to being motivated. And that's how I personally dealt with low motivation. Okay? As far as burnout goes, because this question was a 2-timer, this also came from Elochi. Streamer burnout, content creation burnout is a tough one. And I think throwing yourself a bone every once in a while is how you do it. Sometimes you have to remind yourself as a streamer that this all started most likely out of creativity. You ask yourself, and if you haven't already asked yourself this as a streamer, are you creating something that you want into the world? Does that make sense? When you go to sit down and create a stream, when you go to create content, when you go to make a YouTube video, a TikTok, I think a lot of times, whether or not you ask this question or whether or not you tell yourself this, a lot of times what drives you to make that content is because you want to put this into the world. You want this into the world. You want this out there. You feel the need. There isn't enough Animal Crossing content. You want this content out there, right? And sometimes those wants and needs don't line up with what you maybe should do, right? So here you are, an established streamer, and you know that you should be playing Animal Crossing and Stardew because that's what brings in the money. That's what brings in the views. But you're burnt out. You're flat out burnt out. And you're like, what do I do? That's when you pick up a little bit of variety and you throw yourself a bone. Now let's take this past streaming. Let's say you're just burnt out of streaming. You're burnt out of being creative in this space and content creation. And you're like, dude, what do I do? I don't have the energy to stream. Then maybe throw yourself a bone and go paint a picture. Maybe identify that there's other ways of self-expression. And maybe what you need to do is throw yourself a bone. Go do something different. Take a break. Maybe you don't have the option to take a break. And that's where the struggle is. And that's where you have to try to find that perfect balance, right? As somebody who took this on full time, sometimes I don't think I have the option to take a break. So what do? I throw myself a bone. I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna do some variety. Screw this. I'm gonna take 3 days off and I'm just gonna sit there and I'm gonna draw for 3 days. I'm gonna take 3 days off, 2 days off a stream. I'm not gonna think about content creation at all. And I'm gonna go watch some movies. Just let myself be a degenerate for a couple days. Right? Like, I think a lot of times what helps with burnout is giving yourself a little bit of a break, dude. And maybe the burnout is all of content creation. Maybe it's a specific game. Maybe it's the time you stream. Like, a lot of times burnout is something that you can attach to something specific. A lot of times burnout isn't just, oh, I'm burnt out of everything, which, believe me, if you feel that way, I'm right there with you, especially in modern times. You just get burnt out, right? But a lot of times you can identify something that you're doing or interacting with that is causing you to feel burnt out. And if you can do better to identify that and really look inward, ignore that for a little bit. Throw yourself a bone. I keep saying that, but what I'm saying is treat yourself to something out of the ordinary. Treat yourself to a different style of art. Go make a YouTube video about something that you know will never sell, that will never get you clicks. Just do it for you. Because there's nothing more reinvigorating. There's nothing more motivating than making something for you. And as a creative soul and as a content creator, sometimes you need to step away from everything, the thoughts of views, the content, all that stuff. Oh, what should I be doing? What's the next move? Oh, I gotta get views. And just put something out there for you and you alone, with not a single other human at all in mind. And that is how I deal with burnout. I just let myself do something for me. I got so many, I got like 3 videos on my computer that I recorded and made that I haven't ever shipped out. Because I just did it for me. I was like, all right, this is stupid. I'll just keep it as a little thing in my computer. This is so dumb. I'll write a letter to someone, you know, or I'll like, you know how much hip hop I've written that nobody's ever heard but me. Sit there and just write a song. Like, yeah, this is for me, dude. Right? I think a lot of times we forget that self-expression doesn't have to be something that's sold. Doesn't have to be something that other people see. Self-expression is just the act of expressing yourself. And sometimes the best art comes out of you just doing it for you, baby. Just do it for you, baby. Right? I'll be honest, I'm a cheese ball. I write poems for my girl all the time. One of my favorite ways to express myself. I'll be like, I'll just hit her up with a little poem, a little like, sometimes it'll be like a big drawn out thing. I'll work on it for weeks. Sometimes it's just like a cute little thing. Like, I'll wake up in the morning and I'll just be like, boom, here's a poem for the day. She'll just be like, what the frick? Like, yeah. And a lot of times I'm just doing that for me. You understand? Sure, she got the product because I trust to send it to her, but like, that was for me. And that was just a way for me to express myself. And I was like, all right, cool. I feel better. Right? So like, it's tough. It's very, very tough. It's very, very tough. All right, let me go find some other questions real quick. Wait, I should be making content? Thank you for the biddies again, Ambular. As I said, we're going to start kind of wrapping up here. I'm just going to pick a couple questions out of here that I think are good. Where them lizard people streams go? How could you not have that magnificent beard on cam? Yo, what's up, Backtrend dude? How have you not banned Backtrend Bish yet? Because I like your energy, I'll be honest. How big of a role does Discord play in streaming? This might be weird, but truthfully, I feel people's energy out through text. Is that weird? This is where I think sometimes I'm a little gullible. But I feel people's energy out through text sometimes. Through things from the color of the text of their name. Sometimes it's not on purpose, but whatever. I'll still attach something to it. To their name, their tag, the way they type, their choice of words, how they interact with the rest of the chat. And sometimes I just attach to certain people's energy. So when you truly ask, how have you not been banned yet? Backstream, because I love your energy. I honestly love your energy. I think that you and I are connect on more of a level than you might realize. I don't know, just love your energy. I'm like, okay, cool. I like this person's energy. I'll take their ish, right? Trouble Goats, good example. Absolutely love Trouble Goats energy. Plus, Trouble Goats came into the Discord, and he was just instantly. I was like, love this dude. Love this dude. Bit of a troll, likes to goof around a lot, but I've always kind of enjoyed his energy. And as soon as I met him in Discord and I got to hear his voice and stuff, I was like, love this dude. Hope this dude sticks around for a long time. He's just my kind of people. He's just a real down-to-earth dude. He likes to be a little silly, right? So yeah, when you ask that question, it's like, I don't know. Sometimes I attach to people's energy. And again, honestly, I think sometimes to a fault. I think I've made mistakes where I've attached to someone's energy or something and they were just a troll or something, right? Whatever. I'm willing to take those risks and make those mistakes, because usually when it's right, it feels good. And when it's wrong, it's like, yeah, whatever. Right? So. How big of a role does Discord play in the streaming? I think it depends on your community, but I think Discord's a big part of it. For me, Discord was a major part because that's where I was before I streamed. But I truthfully think that what Discord does is provide a place for your community to connect outside of Twitch, and I think that is very integral to the growth of a community. I also think that Discord, if utilized correctly, could be a huge part of streaming, a huge part of content creation, because it could provide you a way to do content outside of Twitch that maybe doesn't work for your channel. Maybe you are a streamer with 15, 20, 30 viewers, and you're like, shoot, I really don't want to play anything but Fall Guys because this is what brings in success, and this is what I grow off of. When I stream Fall Guys, I get 15 viewers a stream, or sorry, followers, 15 new followers. I stream anything else, I get 2. What do? But I want to do variety. Go do variety in the Discord. You could pop into the Discord, stream variety games for your fan base that you've been building. Now, of course, it's not as accessible as Twitch, and not everyone's going to join in. But you're still out there doing something for yourself. You're still out there connecting with people who want to be connected with, and it just ends up being cool, right? I think in the end of the day, Discord is a pretty important part of streaming, but it's not a necessary part. I don't think it's necessary. I just think it could very well be a very important part of streaming if you let it be, if you approach it properly. But I also think there's plenty of successful streamers out there that probably don't give up about Discord. And they're just like, yeah, whatever. Right? And I think maybe it comes down to your type of community, the type of games you play. Some games maybe draw in more interaction. Like I think Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley, these types of people who watch those streams maybe are more interactive than somebody who's like, right? Here's a better way to reverse it. Let me restart that. I think let's say you're a Fortnite streamer, Discord could be a huge part because you could be squatting up with the boys in Discord. Whereas like, let's say you're a single player Breath of the Wild streamer who after stream has to go take care of their family and stuff. You know, it's probably not that big of a deal if you're not huge on Discord, right? Again, I don't think it's necessary, but I think it is an integral part of streaming if you allow it to be. I think that's the best way to word it. Yeah, I think I covered that one. So I think it's not necessary, but if you do utilize it, it has its uses. It's very useful. It can be a very powerful tool to help you connect with your audience on a more deep level. Pikachu. What do you feel is the message that you are sending into the world, and why is it important to you? Okay, this is a good question to end on. I think we'll end on this question here. I think for me, if I were to actually break down, so first off, I want to make it clear that I don't really have a message like that. I have a couple things that I stand for, and I do my best. I said this earlier, actually. I just try to make the person's day better than when they found my show. That's it. That's my message. My message is the concept, the idea that every single person who walks into my stream, I would like them to walk away feeling better. I would like them to walk away being better off than when they found my stream, whether through entertainment value, they got a couple chuckles, they're feeling good, whether through coziness, whether through my random wisdom that I drop, whatever value you take from my stream, I hope that you take more from it. I hope that you get more from my stream than when, or you feel better, or you're better off than when you found my show, right? Yo, what's up, Bubble Panda? Welcome in. We're off on a raid. Yo, what's up? What's up, Raiders? Welcome in, dude. How we doing? So for me, I don't really go into streaming necessarily with like a message. As somebody said, the message is love, which is kind of cheesy, but like, hey, I kind of like that. I kind of like that, to be honest. Welcome in, Bubble Panda. We're answering a question right now for our Q&A, and the question was, let me go ahead and read it again for the new viewers in here. What do you feel is the message that you are sending into the world, and why is it important? So for me, like I said, I don't really approach streaming trying to do more than just live my life free of being a wage slave. And I've said this before in the past. My original reason for starting streaming was just so that I could get out of the working force. And I still stand by that. At the end of the day, I had selfish reasons for doing this, and that hasn't changed. I'm here to live the best life that I can live that doesn't involve having to go work for some dude that I don't know and hate my life every day. That's it. But as I've grown as a streamer, I do understand that I can add value to people's lives, right? I can add value to people's lives. I can add value to the people that come and show up to my stream. So if I truly had a message, the message would be that, you know, I hope that you're taking away something from my stream. I hope that I can provide value to you, and it is very important to me to provide some sort of value to the people who walk into the front door of my stream. Why is it important to me? Because it makes it feel like I've always felt like growing up throughout life that I had more, and this is kind of deep here, but like I had more of a purpose than just like, I've always kind of felt like I had a bit more,
well done,
of like that I could impact people, right? So let me explain this real quick, and then I'll say thank you to the support here, all right? When I was very little, I found out that I had this big goofy smile, and that if I threw up my big goofy smile, it made other people smile. I figured this out. I was walking down the street, I was 10 years old, and I was like, dude, anytime I smile at someone, they always smile back, even if they look like they're having the worst day. I seriously thought this to myself as a kid. I was like, wow, I have a superpower. I'm 10 years old. I'm like, I have a superpower. If I smile, other people smile. I can make people's days better. And I think that's the same energy that I translate into my streams to this day. Is I realize that through my selfish need to get out of the workforce, through my selfish desire to get away from the everyday norm and to live my own creative life, I found out that I built a platform up, and I have the ability to make a difference in people's days, even if it's just through entertainment. And that's the message, and that's why it's important to me. Because I felt this way my whole life. Like, wow, I can make a difference in someone's day by flashing a smile. And now it's translated into streaming. I'm 30 years old, and all of a sudden I have like Smile Man is back, right? It's like so funny how life works that way. I have this platform where I can, you know, make a difference in someone's day just by being me and by throwing up a smile, right? And that's cool. Like, so like, again, I didn't really go into this trying to be some like vigilant, like I didn't go into streaming like I'm going to make the biggest difference in the world. Ah! I don't think that way. I'm too much of a realist. I'm honestly kind of a dark-minded person in a sense. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? I don't walk around thinking happy thoughts all day. I say fuck this and that all the time. I don't care, man. Half the time I'm like, screw that. That sucks. Right? Not always the most positive human, right? So it's like, I didn't go into this trying to be something special. I just went into this selfishly, identified that I could do more. And I was like, cool, like dope, dude. I can literally just be myself, create content, have a good time. And people are like, yo, dude, you made a difference in my day. I'm like, oh, wow. So yes, I keep in mind the people that interact in my front door, probably more than I ever did 3 years ago when I started streaming. I keep it in mind every day. I'm like, I could, that person just showed up in my stream. Hopefully they left better in some way, shape, or form, right? That's kind of like where the best way for me to answer that question, because I don't really have like a message necessarily. Like I really don't think that way. I like I said, and I'll never not make that clear that this was all selfish at the end of the day, right? Because I don't ever want to come off as some dude who's out here I'm just some streamer, dude. I'm just some dude. I'm just a dude playing games, man. It's nothing more than that. I'm just blessed with the opportunity to make someone's day. And that's pretty freaking cool. I'd say one of your messages is that people belong. I agree with that. Honestly, the chat might be able to identify a question like that better than I can. So, yeah. Trouble goes. The dude abides. Yo, Boater Mom, thank you so much for the 10 gifted subs. I'm sorry it took me a second to get to you. I was really on a roll. I really had to get that out of me, but I always try to express my appreciation for gifted subs and for support. Thank you so much, Boater Mom, for the 10 pack. I did see your DM. I will get back to you here. I'll get back to you right now. All right, I'll get back to you right now. Hold on, chat. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Yo, Sylvia with the 5-pack as well, dude. What up, Sylvia? You legend. What up, you legend? Maybe some dude, but you in this community helped me through some tough times when I didn't have anyone. Oh, thank you, dude. Just being here is enough, though. Keep that in mind. Just being here is enough, dude. Thank you guys so much. Yo, shout out to the Just Chatting community not actually being that much of a cesspool today. Cool. Cool. Thank you, Just Chatters. If you're out there lurking, thank you so much for participating in the Q&A. Appreciate y'all sincerely. A couple goofballs came in